Hey guys, and welcome back to the Kharak Cup. Going to continue the semifinals right now. Unfortunately, I actually already saw these games. I cast them once and then I just realized my microphone was off. Just kind of a stupid mistake, but yeah, it's true. They've been spoiled for me, but you haven't seen them, so I shall not tell you the outcome. I will tell you, obviously Descara is the favorite here, and in fact, he seems to be so confident with it. He's going to pick his off rate. He's playing Galzian right here, so that's interesting to see. Let me check out the map picks right here. It is, in fact, Descara's first pick to be the Shallows. A map that he seems to like quite a lot, I guess. Definitely going to be playing Eco to start this one out here. Shrike then going to pick Kartova, and Descara will pick the Boneyard. Descara banned Firebase Krill, actually. Which... That's not like a map that Shrike likes particularly much, but I believe that Descara does not really like Firebase Krill. I think we've heard him talking about that in some games recently. And then Shrike banned Torrent Crater. That actually makes a lot of sense given the faction picks here, so... Pick ban, I think, is pretty logical. Give me a 6-up for Shrike. I'd go 8-up if I were him. I think he can get away with it, but... Definitely going to be a tough series for him, though. Refiner mode comes out first for Descara. Sandscape Fabrication on the way just now. Should see a similar thing over from Shrike's end. They're pretty much doing the same build, if you will, just different factions. There we go. Thing is, I think if you go 8-up, you get LAV fabrication a little bit faster, I think. I'm not totally sure. I haven't, that might not be true. I haven't done it for a while. I'm going to find this kind of stuff out pretty soon when I do that Spark Cruiser first video, which I keep telling people I'm going to do, but then not doing, but I really am going to do it now. That's okay, though. A couple Sandskimmers on the way for Descara. He's going to fill out his base using the carrier here. So, at no rush, it seems, to get his eco filled out. Just want to get a little bit of scouting out on the map, make sure he doesn't just, like, die instantly. I like to play it a little bit more risky if I feel like I know my opponent well enough, but knowing Shrike well enough, you would actually kind of expect him to go LAVs first here, actually. So, this actually does make a lot of sense from Descara. Of course, I might just be reading way too much into things as usual, but... that's what I'm seeing right now. Interesting pick here, though, is Railgun Fabrication first for Shrike. Personally, I don't think that's a very good idea. We've seen this work, obviously. If you've ever watched Garmulator, you'll know about that. But the thing is, Garmulator doesn't go SC first. He does LAV spam into these rails here. It's going to be tricky. I mean, Descara is getting Assault Ship Fabrication. There was once a time where I would have told you this is really good for Shrike because rails beat Assault Ships, but the counter is obviously air, and it's going to be coming out fast. So... we'll just have to see. I think perhaps my play is getting a little stale these days, but I still just kind of think that AAVs first is always kind of like the go-to thing for me to do. Descara with a scouting LAV here is not going to see that carrier just yet, but he'll know pretty soon that there is rail tech on the way here. He's seen the SC first, of course, already. Coming back down here on the hill, this Sandskimmer getting a lot of good scouting information. There's the railgun module, he sees it. Even if this, in fact, hard not to look at the carrier when it's doing something like that. And in fact, even if that Sandskimmer had got, well, he did die. Point is, he got really good scouting information, so that's definitely worth it for Descara. Seeing the railgun module coming up like that, Descara almost certainly going to be getting interceptors first. Indeed, that is what he's doing, although you see he's making a assault ship. Actually, he's geared up 2 here off of the production cruiser already. Probably just a counter to LAVs or something like that. After all, LAVs having their anti-air, it's really difficult to leverage, you know, an air advantage against them. Shrike hopefully going up onto 3rd base pretty soon here. He's definitely going to want to. I'm expecting great things of Shrike, by the way. I mean, definitely one of the best up-and-coming players, if you know what I mean. He and No Fun I'm always very impressed with. I'm sure I've said that too many times, so you probably already knew that. But really, you know, I'm expecting him to kind of hold his own in the series. And seeing as I've actually already seen it. But, you know, I won't spoil it for you, like I said. Shrike pairing up the weapons before the range there. Interesting thing here is that actually powering up weapons 1 doesn't increase your PD at all, right? It's really nice in A-Games mod because there's actually numbers associated with this and you can see it, I think anyway. I might be wrong about that, but I think so. But yeah, one thing you can definitely tell here in vanilla is that if the power is on power 1, then you get the missile system, but you don't actually get any more damage on the turrets. So definitely range is like the first thing that you want to do here when you're just in the very early game, perhaps going to be attacked by some sand skimmers. Because those 300 meters can make a lot more difference than the one missile, which usually can't fire. The missile launcher on the Coalition carrier, you can see, is kind of in the back here, right? It's this guy right here. And, yeah, I mean, like, his range is 500 meters at range 0, which is pretty much the length of the carrier. So if you go the one length of the carrier out, you get to, like, here. So until people get that close to you, you won't be able to fire that missile at them. Oh, look at that. Support cruiser anti-air coming out from Shrike here. That's actually really good, because it definitely means he understands that air is coming off the assault ships here. Gonna be a bit more of, like, the passive choice, if you know what I'm saying. Because obviously the support cruiser anti-air coming out here is going to lock him down to his bases. He can't really leave them. There's actually an anti-air turret post up, but this is in the wrong position here. So this anti-air turret post definitely needs to be like here at the least, but I would say even like there, because that's where you're going to get attacked first, is on your support cruiser there. And these interceptors here, if they want to, they can damage this support cruiser without actually getting hit by that anti-air turret post at all. It looks like what they're going to do here. Oh, they back away. You know, they're coming in. You can see no missile battery fabrication getting researched here means he is definitely kind of locking himself in as support cruiser anti-air here, but it's not going to be finished just yet. Another anti-air turret post gets set up by this base runner here. Wow. That's a pretty big commitment into anti-air there for Shrike. Ooh, support cruiser getting really low though. I'm sure if descara has a couple more interceptors, yeah, he's got one on the way here, he'll probably just finish this off. But support cruiser is here to heal. Anti-air's finished. Yeah, you know, this support cruiser might actually make it for Shrike, but that's really close. It's a little too close for comfort. Uh-oh, you gotta get back, gotta heal this guy. Anti-air upgrade is revealed. Interceptor goes down, but it's only one of them. That's really close, though, for Shrike. Definitely this guy healing him up, though, is gonna be pretty nice. Burls. Oh, look at that. Veterancy is plus 10% repair. That's rather prudent, isn't it? AAV trying to pressure up here in the north, but he's going to see rail tech is finished. No chance for some damage to be done there, but this is really ambitious here. Moving out the railguns is just not really wise in this scenario, and you're already beginning to fall behind here because you know that you don't have anti-air coverage, so you're just going to die there. A little bit of a silly move, if you ask me. Hold up, let me make sure I'm recording. I am. Good. Okay, and I have the microphone on? Yes. Excellent. Haha. Sorry, I've done that before. With this particular game, too. 3 production cruisers are out. Descara beginning to mobilize his carrier here. He's also got some long-distance miners, and you can see Shrike does not. Another thing here, which having seen the series, I can tell you, is that this guy, Burls, he just chills out here for a long time. Whereas definitely, Shrike is going to want to mobilize this support cruiser. He's got good anti-air coverage using this guy, which again, units moving out into the middle with no anti-air coverage, not really wise. This support cruiser here could come with him. He could definitely, you know, assist as an anti-air unit there, and it's also really nice to push with support cruisers too, if you've ever done that. It's not something Coalition gets away with every day, but it's really handy. Or, you know, he could facilitate the 4th base, but what he definitely doesn't want to do is just kind of sit there. Or maybe, like, unlock the carrier by moving here. But Shrike will just continue to make support cruisers and just leave this guy here, which is really kind of unfortunate to see. Anti-air turret gets set up in the middle, so Shrike is trying to get that, he's trying to get that field control, trying to allow himself to move out there using the anti-air turret post. But again, he's got, you know, free support cruisers. That's really the better way to do it. It's strength to the army, whereas the anti-air turret post is not. It's a lot more dynamic. It's harder for it to be killed. I think it really just makes a lot more sense. Oh, and you already have it, so you don't really lose any money for that either. Honor Guard Cruiser Fabrication coming up for descara as well as Power Reserve 3. A little bit interesting for him to be going into Power Reserves so much. I feel like he wouldn't really get away with that if it weren't for the Galzian Missile Barrage, which will eventually be unlocked. Let's see if he denies this artifact. He might not. I think he does. No, he shouldn't. Unless the interceptors dunked on it, but they didn't. Okay, so one artifact is going to come out here for Shrike now. Ah, look at that. Support cruisers with the army. That's good. But you still have another one, you know? Like, you could be on a 4th base now if you wanted to. Oh, and you know what? There's no anti-air coverage up here either. So these interceptors, if they hadn't docked there, they might have come out here and tried to do some damage to those railguns. So yeah, I mean, Shrike definitely is wanting to be a little bit more active with that support cruiser, I guess. I've probably said enough about that, I won't mention it again, but... Power reserves on the way now for Shrike, as well as just a bunch of rails. He's lost so many to those interceptors, though. Check out the units lost tab here. It's a bit painful. This is like a 500 CU lead, only about 70 RUs, but... And it could have been worse, by the way, if the support cruiser had gone down, which it really could have. It was pretty risky. Support cruiser here that's out in the open, actually getting dunked on pretty heavy here. Shrike doesn't seem to be aware. He's also fighting up the high ground here, which is not good. It's interesting on the shallows, but you can't really be here on the bottom. I'm probably not the best example for this. I mess up on the shallows a lot that way. But there's a lot of high ground available. It's like almost every position in the map can be attacked with high ground. So you have to be really careful like what position you take. Carrier gonna take some damage here, but that's fine. He will just heal that up. That's basically free money for descara. Check out the units lost again now. Oh, you know, not as bad as I thought actually for Shrike here, but wow, that's kind of surprising actually. Still though, it does look good for descara. Yeah, no, I thought that would be a lot worse. Sorry. Just had myself a long think about things. But anyway, check out the railgun counts though. Descara's carrier actually kind of a little bit trapped here, and there's a lot of railguns on this low ground here. Yeah, it's like 9 of them. Interceptor's gonna come in to dunk some damage, but that doesn't go very far. Actually, amazingly, few here gonna survive that. Did you know that's actually Arabic for elephant? Anyway. Or wait. Is that true? It might be Arabic for verb. I can't really remember. Someone who speaks Arabic, please put in the comments. Onagar Cruiser nearly dies here. Base burner heal would definitely be nice at this point. Kind of one of the forgotten abilities of DOK, unless you're SSSS, of course. I won't even talk about that. Well, like I said, these support cruisers here are actually really good, right, for holding the railguns together. And now that he's got them with the army, this is actually a pretty nasty looking death ball. The problem, I think, is just that Power Reserve 5 is on the way here. Descara kind of getting away with that where he shouldn't have. This Honor Guard Cruiser is also still alive, actually. But the positioning there for Descara was pretty tenuous for a moment. Interestingly, he's actually going to take this rail fight anyway. Wow, actually, yeah, that's very interesting. I'm not sure exactly how that happened. Oh, you know, it was probably, yeah, the Honor Guard got a shot off. You can smoke a little, like he smoked here, that's good. You can do that a little earlier when you notice that you're losing rail fights, but Power Reserve 5 is finished now. This carrier for Descara really in an awkward position, I gotta say, but having that missile barrage ready is gonna definitely change things up here. Here it comes, and that's gonna allow this entire army to be routed. Support crews are gonna go down here, a lot of hiccups from me, a lot of railgun deaths, as you can see. And the carrier's just kind of hooning in there for damage, as our good friend Magpie would have said. Back when he was still alive. And that's pretty much a clean army wipe there versus Shrike. Good stuff for Descara. Like I was saying, this kind of carrier power build here, this would not work if it weren't for that super weapon. Frankly, Shrike was looking a little bit questionable at that point already. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, somehow his push had fallen apart. I'm not totally sure, because it looked like he was playing that fine. But when the carrier comes in with that cruise missile barrage, it's really just, it's game over. Gotta say though, Honor Guards are still kind of an interesting choice here for Descara. I think perhaps he's, I noticed this before Draki Cup 1. This is in Kharak Cup 11, right? He was playing as if he was playing the Draki patch, and I think perhaps it's because he's just kind of trying to get used to it. The soul ship's here, by the way, going to get denied, but that definitely opens up a window if Descara wanted to push out here because the railguns moved off, but he's not going to take it. Just played a little safe here. But yeah, you know, instead of getting carrier power as Coalition, he was always getting like artillery and stuff like assault cruisers and stuff like that, which is not really how Vanilla was played back then. Frankly, I think it still isn't. But he was making it work, and I guess, you know, he's just doing that because, of course, Draki Cup 1 is coming up. You know, that's how you play Coalition there, so he's kind of getting used to it. Or at least that's how he plays Coalition there. I guess there are multiple styles available, but that definitely seems to be a very strong one at this point. Railgun positions are known. Descara could fire the missile burst at those if he wanted to. Actually making an interceptor here, it's an interesting choice. I guess that's a really good, you know, counterattack, like, insurance, isn't it? Because obviously if Shrike wants to push out with these rails and there's interceptors out, they're just going to pick him apart again. So long as he doesn't have anti-air with him. Powers are 4 on the way for Shrike now. More support? Oh my god, whoa! Whoa! Well, okay, maybe he's got like a really big RU float? Or a CU float? Yeah, I guess that's probably it. But dang, man. That's... Wow. Missile Barrage comes out there. No number of support crews is going to be enough to save the rails from this. He's just nasty. Carrier kind of moving out here unsupported though. Missile Barrage I usually would not say is as good as the cruise missile, but can still do real well, that's for sure. Shrike at power 4 at the moment. Underground Cruiser here definitely gonna get killed. This is a little bit odd for Descara, pushing in sort of in pieces here. Part of his army engaging, part of it not. 2 honor guards lost. Wow, look at the units lost tab again. Yeah, that evened it up a lot, because this Shrike was like 4,000 CUs behind in the units lost tab, and now he's only like 2,000. Wow, that's actually really bad. I have a feeling it won't really matter too much, because the missile barrage is going to be ready again. Powers are 6 is on the way, so he's not going to be able to push off of this, is Shrike, but wow. I mean, that's like, that's really good damage. Another artifact might score here. Shrike really wants to stop this if he can. Looks like he's sending his carrier up there, so he definitely recognizes that. This is going to be really big problems for him, though, as these assault ships push in on the back line and there's nothing to defend. I definitely want to see Shrike send some railguns back here, but having seen the series before, I can tell you, unfortunately, he does not. These assault ships going to hit home for damage. Artifact here definitely going to be denied. Down he goes. As well as that base printer also getting taken out there. But this is big problems here with this backstab. You know, I'm looking at it again now. Last time I kind of had the feeling that Descara was sort of ahead the whole game, but looking at it with new eyes this time, like, I don't know, Shrike actually maybe is ahead right now if it isn't for this eco backstab here. This is going to be really nasty. There's just no way to hold it, I guess. He doesn't have any units in the area. He needed to send them back a lot sooner. Like, if this hadn't happened, I don't know, I mean, just look at Shrike's army here, like, lots of railguns, you know what I mean? Lots of them. And this carrier's powered up pretty nicely, too. He was probably going to be on power 5 in just a moment if he hadn't lost his whole eco here. Here comes the missile barrage. It's pretty bad, as usual. Takes out a lot of railguns right there. And Shrike can't really rebuild these. I mean, his eco is just totally wiped at this point. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna say, like, I think actually Shrike did a lot better than I thought. I think, you know, I think this game should be kind of like a good sign for him. It's like, clearly this worked pretry well. Like, he narrowly lost this one, I would say. Wow. No, of course, Descara is playing his off faction, but he's still tryharding, you know, you can tell. I tried to give Shrike a little bit of coaching before this game because I really wanted him to win if it was possible, because that'd be so cool for me. But I was expecting Descara to play Coalition here. I think Shrike's pick ban was like really good, considering Descara's on the off faction, because it's not like what I was telling him to do, you know what I mean? It was more dynamic, I suppose. Descara on his 4th base, by the way. His main is mined out. That's kind of what we expect at this stage of the game, but he is on that 4th, so he's still got an eco going here. Can't say the same for Shrike, who I think with logistics modules and stuff actually can't build any units right now anyway. Another missile. I mean, these things just keep coming. That's the problem with the Gaussian missile barrage in vanilla. Is that the cruise missile is more of like a swing of power. It's much more noticeable that way, but the Gaussian missile barrage just comes again and again and again. You just can't stop this thing. Descara's carrier definitely going to be able to take the fight with Shrikes here. That's probably what it's going to come down to. All the units are gone, really. There's a couple railguns here for Descara as well, still left on the field. This Honor Guard cruiser thinks he's playing Doom. He's clearly aiming too high to actually hit that shot, but it's okay. That's another Honor Guard, right? Yeah, he's getting carrier blocked here in a bad way. Can't actually shoot at all. Yeah. Carrier blocking is a really annoying thing, but like it's also kind of good because it allows the defender to like hold himself in the beginning of the game. But one of the biggest ways to throw games that I've found is by carrier blocking myself. Anyway, Shrike does go down. That's going to bring the series to a 1-0. Let's go ahead and load in game 2 here. Map 2 is Kartoba, like I said. Did I say that? I think I said that. Point is, it is. Let me load that one in here real quick. If I may. Yeah, look at the difference in collected, resources here, by the way. Really big on the RUs, because Descara had those long-distance miners for a long time that game. I don't know. I think actually Shrike was kind of ahead at some point. He just didn't hold his base properly, and it turned out to be problems for him. It's interesting. Yeah, I wonder if he could have won that one. Oh well. Point is, I want to talk now a little bit about series mentality, right? Because I've been in this position before many times where I kind of feel like there's someone who should beat me. Shrike probably feeling that way, and we know Descara, probably the best player in the world right now. You're playing someone who you feel like should beat you. And he's already beaten you once now, so the series has gone like, 1-0. It's a best of 3, like you have to win this one or you're out. It's really hard to get back into it, you know what I mean? By the way, I think he's going 6 up here. Maybe he's going 7 up. No, yeah, we don't see any production coming out from Dewey. Yeah, he's going 6 up here. I would go 8 up on this map, just like the shelves. It's really big. Anyway, trying to like pull yourself back together to win, the next map in the series is really quite difficult. Because it's easy to think like this is just kind of hopeless. I kind of worry that Shrike was feeling this way, because as you will see, he goes for a sort of a gimmick build, I guess you would say. Which is not something that we would expect to see work against, the best player in the world, would we? I have said before, and I'll stand by this, that when you're playing someone who you think is better than you, it's actually a pretty good move often to try and mix things up, do something that's unexpected, not play standard, even if that's your best play style, because if your best is up against his best, you expect it to lose. So why don't you pit, maybe even your second best against his, not best. Is this making sense what I'm saying? The point is, if you mix things up, he won't really know how to react, and hopefully you can get the advantage that way. It's a way to win series that, you kind of feel like you are not the favorite for. I think that's true. But what I definitely do not mean when I say that, and I feel like that's kind of what we're seeing in this game right here, if you'll notice, is kind of like to say, well, I can't win, so let's just like try some kind of weird gimmick here and see if like we can pull off kind of a fluke win. But against players who are very good, gimmicks are just not very strong. Chrome gets taken out here, by the way. Good pick there for Descara, who has already gotten refinery mode here. Shrike with the support cruiser house is pretty similar to game 1 so far. AV fabrication comes out first here. But what Shrike is going to try to do is he's going to try to power reserve rush here. So he's going to get up to power 5 as fast as he can, use the cruise missile and whatever, and try to win the game like that. This can work, actually. On a map like Kartoba, I don't know about that. I wonder if this was Shrike's plan going into this. Because the map is really big, so he's not going to get attacked in the early game. But again, the map is really big. I mean, his carrier's not going to have a terribly good effect on it. And it's very open, too. You see, there's a lot of room for railgun to shoot at you from their maximum range, which means you're not going to be able to pull this off, probably. The other thing is anti-air. I mean, you're going to need it. Because it's Kartoba. You expect the air war to come out. And Descara's playing Galzian here, which means he's got kind of the advantage in that field. You can't really use Strike Fighters against the Interceptors terribly effectively here in this matchup. So, you know, you need to cover your bases, literally, quite well here. Sport Cruiser Anti-Air comes out for Shrike pretty early, which is good. Let's see, like, Pirate Reserve 1's already finished for him. Turret comes out to fight off one Sand Skimmer, which I think is a little bit of overkill. He could have just made, like, one AAV or something. But yeah, same thing with game 1. Sport Cruiser Anti-Air is definitely the defensive option here. He can't take a base that doesn't have a Sport Cruiser on it now, which is going to slow down his eco a little bit. He also can't move out with an army without a Sport Cruiser with them until he gets missile batteries or something like that. That's what's so potentially good about Assault Cruiser Anti-Air, is that, you know, you would keep these guys with your army, wouldn't you? And so if you have an Anti-Air platform that's actually part of the army, he's not a support cruiser, he's an assault cruiser, he has actually offensive capabilities. Potentially you could kind of get ahead that way, but I don't know, we haven't really seen that use to terribly good effect yet, so perhaps it's just a little bit too weak of attack in vanilla. There's also the fact that assault cruisers aren't really ever used much. Afterburner coming out from Descara, signifying this is definitely a commit into air. Interceptors are 100 RUs each, right? I think they are. A couple of assault ships meandering about across the map too. Just wants to get some scouting information here. I'm going to fast forward just a little bit until the action gets started. Interceptor's going to launch now to this Sand Skimmer here is looking to see, you know, where's the Anti-Air not present. And he finds it now against that carrier. So in comes Descara with the Interceptors. He's gonna start dunking on these salvagers here, and that's the problem with Sport Cruiser Anti-Air in this build. If you ever have, you know, like an opening on the field where you haven't got Anti-Air, then Interceptors are there; they're coming to get you. So I think Sport Cruiser Anti-Air probably makes a lot of sense in this scenario, but you have to be careful when you expand with it. But it is still the defensive option. Missile batteries would be a little bit more proactive, I guess. Last Interceptor coming in here probably to finish the job. These guys are unreal quick, so... Down they go. He manages to dump some damage on the carrier, huh? About 250. Descara building up a pretty big force here on his opponent's fort. And I think the idea here is just, like when you're playing against a carrier power rush build, which Descara may realize is going on here because he hasn't seen any units out on the field, right? And that's got to kind of have you wondering a little bit, like, what's going on here exactly? Why is my opponent not building anything? Extractions are really good because if your carrier is powered up, you're golden, right? Getting some harassment with the Interceptors, slow your opponent down, is really good. Let's see here. Getting railgun fabrication to get that damage in on the carrier, again, really good. And something else you can try is getting carrier power upgrades to try and, you know, outpower your opponent. Anyway, he's going to move in here now with the Sand Skimmers onto that main. There's like one AAV on the field, and that's it for Shrike. That's why I say he's doing a gimmick build. It's because, like, yeah, he has no army at all at this stage. Sand Skimmer's going to come in here, they'll smite down this turret before too long, and then there's really just no defense for the base here. Another turret could get put down, but that's not going to go very far. So this is going to be the main wiped here. Now Power Reserve 4 is done for Shrike. I mean, he's getting there. But this is what you want to do when you're fighting against a carrier power rush build. It's just like, come in and start harassing his eco because your army is going to be better than his. You can beat his army, just stay away from the carrier and hit all the positions where that carrier is not present. That should win you the day, really. Well, the turret did get set down, actually, but the support cruiser's out, and immediately Interceptors are in the area doing damage to those salvagers. Actually, it looks like they're going to take out the assault ship, or sorry, the AAV, so that the Sand Skimmers can go in unimpeded. That's the main base wiped here, so Shrike is going to have to come in now with that carrier, try to defend his second. He's got good anti-air coverage, right? Assault cruiser fabrication comes out, actually. It's interesting. He cancels it, though. Yeah, okay, he needed to in order to get Power Reserve 5 set up. Carrier getting powered up now from Shrike. And he should be able to hold this base here. He won't lose that one, but already losing his main is a big problem for him. And descara just gonna start spamming heavy railguns here. He knows what's going on. He knows how to deal with this. Actually, this is a really nice move for him too, how he's already gotten a soul chip here. Because, like, the sand skimmers, that's pretty natural. Carrier's here, so let's go over here. But, like, look, he's already gotten a soul chip in position, so you can tell he was thinking about this. This base here, though, perhaps going to be taken out as well. Whole bunch of sand skimmers doing the damage right there. Now, I've thought about fighting carrier power rushes a while now, because if you remember, SSSS used to do this all the time in 3v3s. I don't know if you ever played against that guy. I think you need to get rid of the healing for the carrier first. I think that's probably the way to do it. And I think the reason why people can't beat the SSSS base burner build when they're playing 3v3... By the way, look at this full commit here. He's just like, I don't need money. I'll just send these guys in. But that's the thing. The reason why they can't beat him is because they let the healing get kind of out of control, right? Descara, meanwhile, gonna be over here like, so what happened to the economy? Like, I guess I won, right? Anyway, they let the healing get out of control. There's too many base runners out there that can heal up that carrier, and there's just no way to stop them. I think when you're dealing with carrier power, the thing that you have to do is get rid of the healing for the carrier. And that's probably the way to do it, right? Is take out the support cruiser first here. So this is probably what descara wants to be doing. A little bit risky to keep the railguns so bunched up like this. Of course, the cruise missile could come out, and that'd be really big problems for Shrike here. But he also kind of knows that all these support cruiser kills are like semi-permanent if he can get rid of these logistics modules. He's not actually doing that right now, which I feel like he really should be. Other thing though is that once the support cruisers go down, then interceptors are available to do damage to this carrier because there's no anti-air on the field. Cruise missile not really being used here from Shrike. But yeah, I think if you're gonna beat like the power rush build from like a Gaussian carrier, for example, you just gotta like push it early with railguns, you know, just be proactive on the field. And people never do that in 3v3. That's why it's so powerful. Anyway, descara's carrier not even having to get involved there. He takes out that carrier. Only has one railgun left, so that was actually pretty close. But like, he's got more coming. He would have been fine there. As well, you know, he was about to extract double again here. He has powers of 1 finished. Taking to honor guards is a little weird. I don't think he needs that, but why not? And he takes that game pretty comfortably. A bit of a disappointment, you know. I wanted to see Shrike try and play real here, but he did do pretty well in game 1. I mean, I think it was a good series for him in general. I'm really excited to see what Shrike can pull off in the future, but for now it's going to be A-Game-X versus descara for our finals, and that is exciting. So I'll catch you then.